Welcome to another episode of Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view. We've got a great show today. We're going to deconstruct the video. We're going to talk about this myth about entitlement cuts, how everybody on both sides of the aisle are moaning about it. We'll deconstruct that myth. And Bernie wins big in Nevada. So let's take it away and bring in my co-host, Lloyd Mendenhall. Hey, Lloyd.
Hey, how you doing, Art? Whoops, let me get everything. Man, I apologize. I'm still on my first cup of coffee, folks.
Okay.
I had a terrible night, and Judy was trying. She says, "You got a show to do today." Yeah, okay. And back to sleep I go. Finally, I like, oh crap! I got 30 minutes to get up and get running.
Might need to dial back some of those meds, Lloyd.
It would be great if they worked, but that's the problem. They don't work. It was like I was still awake at 5:30 this morning. So, yeah.
Wow, I hate that when that happens.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I look at the clock. Okay, I got. And I wake up again an hour later.
Yeah.
And I wake up again. Oh crap! I got half hour till the alarm goes off. Screw it, I'm getting up.
Yeah.
So that's how my day starts. And then once in a great while, the alarm will wake me up. And I'm like, oh, boy.
Yeah. I bet that's nice.
Yep. So that's called Welcome to the 60s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, once you hit a certain age, it's like, and in Judy's case, with her, I'll be up and down with her sometimes all night. So I sleep when I can, and yeah, I haven't seen 8 hours of straight sleep in years.
Yeah. Oh, same here. I find that 7 hours is about the max for me. If I get more than 7, I get headaches and I feel like crap all day. But
I generally run on about 5.
Yeah.
After that, I feel lethargic.
Yeah. Well, that's where you take cat naps and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's get to our topic. We have this video that we're going to talk about. I'm going to kind of share just a real quick snippet. Okay. And I'll share the audio. I won't play it real long because I don't want to get in trouble because it,
Right.
Alrighty, so
schemes, systematic robbery, extortion, rackets, security money, sham unions, cartels, price fixing, drug dealing, and sweatshops. No, I am not talking about the mafia. I'm talking about Nazi German economic practices of the 1930s. Not socialist, not capitalist, simply criminal.
alrighty, so you saw that video.
Yeah.
You saw that. So let's deconstruct how they were kind of right, but they were wrong.
Who, the Nazis?
No, I'm talking about this video where they said that they weren't socialists. Yeah, they were socialists. You got to remember, socialism is just a little bit to the right of communism, where the government doesn't own the means of production. They just give you the illusion that they're capitalists because of regulations and all these business dealings. They are still socialists, and it's government control, but not directly into business. And it's sort of between socialism and crony capitalism that we have here, where businesses work out deals with the government and kind of keeps the competition out. And that's how socialism works.
Yeah. Let me continue to talk about that for a few minutes. I need to run and do something for Judy real quick.
All right.
I'll be right back. Let me.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So while Lloyd's taking care of that, we'll talk about, that video. Talks about how it's more like a mafia style government. But you got to remember, socialism is on the left side of the spectrum. You got to think of government as a spectrum from right to left. The further right you go, the smaller the government. And way out there, you have anarchy. That's where there's no government. And the further left you go, the more government there is, the bigger government, and more regulations, and less freedom. So that is my perspective on how governments work. But you go to these history websites and they talk about, right-wing fascists and left-wing communists. And it's like, no, you guys got it all wrong. They're both on the left. They're both all about big government and government control of businesses. So let's bring Lloyd back, and I want to say hi to Mike Roach. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, when he does that introduction, I was sitting there listening to it again, because I've watched it last night, and when he was opening that up and he was discussing that, I was thinking, it sounds an awful lot like the mantra of the Democratic Party.
Yes, you're right. I mean, look at Bloomberg. He's a multi-billionaire.
Yeah,
and he used capitalism to make his fortune. Now he wants to control government. And when he was mayor of New York, he was controlling what people could drink or eat. I mean, you limited the size of sodas that you could get.
Yeah, that was the silliest thing ever.
Gulp and said, well, instead of 32 ounces, you could have 2 16 ounces. It's like, really? Do you really want to tell people what they could drink? That?
And here's the thing, that was all about money. Okay, taxes.
Yeah.
Because what it is all right, they charge, let's say a 16-ounce drink is 99 cents. Okay,
right.
Let's just give that as an example. But you can get, so what's that, $1.98 for 2 of them. Okay,
right.
But you can get the 32 ounce because you can get it for $1.59.
Right.
Okay. And or $1.49. Some of them do that,
right.
Depending on their special. And the reason is because they're charging by the cup, not by the ounces. And I know this from when I worked for one of those, when I worked for a 7 to 11 type store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they charge by the cup because that's what they're paying for. They, they're charged by the liquid too, but it's the cup that is the most expense overall because, and the ice, because there's spillage on the ice. And, if you're filling a 32 ounce, you're just letting, okay, it's full. You do that, but you only have 1 cup to deal with.
Right.
And so when they dropped it to 16 ounces, that's 2 cups they were selling. That's 2 pieces of product off the shelf, even though they're supposed to get basically the same amount for a, 16 ounces, half of 32. Okay. So the tax you would think would be the same, but the difference is at 99 cents a cup for 16 ounces, they're getting, let's say, 9%. Let's say it comes to $2 even.
Right.
And they have a 10% charge. They're getting 20 cents off those 2 16-ounce
Right.
in taxes. But if they're selling a special that it's let's say $1.79 for a 32 ounce, well, they're not going to get 20 cents. They're only going to get a 17 cents
That's right.
taxes, and that's all that was about.
Mm-hmm.
Had
Mhm.
nothing to do with health, because any idiot could figure out if 32 ounces is 32 ounces, whether you divide it in two or not. But
Yep.
the taxes, that's where the difference is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what that was all about.
That's right. And plus, they were talking about how the government or the leaders in government were they were stealing basically property from, but still redistribution.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the communists in the Soviet Union,
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? The people that are higher up on the chain of leadership, they got the best of everything. They got their dacha, they got a car, and not just a little 4-cylinder lawnmower type car.
Right.
These are nice, luxurious cars that they got.
They were driving
They
Lexus,
didn't
not
live in a
Yugos.
flat. They lived in a house.
Yeah.
Well, either that or a nice condo style apartment.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they
Yeah.
lived very well. So they just changed the name of communism, and it's still rich versus poor. Only you
Yeah.
have more poor people.
Yeah. And the rich in communist countries, well, just look at it. When the Soviet Union fell, people like Putin and stuff like that, they didn't suddenly have to go out and get a job and start working 9 to 5 and working in a bakery or, becoming a general laborer to help. No, they already had the money. They'd already put the money away and had it over in Swiss bank accounts or wherever else that they could hide it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the Soviet Union fell, they just suddenly became rich entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And they already had the money stolen, so they could reinvest it in something,
Right.
under their name.
And on the other hand, the rich oligarchs that have big businesses, they came to government and said, "Hey, we don't want any competition. So could you put some regulation in so that we won't have any competition?" And then when you have that, you don't have innovation, and you don't pass the savings down to the consumers.
Right.
They're selling less and less of their product. If they had competition, they would lower their price, and more of the goods would get to the consumers.
Well, the Nazis, as far as that went, which is where we start on this,
right?
They stood for National Socialist, and they were nationalist, but they followed a form of a warped form of socialism, and I've never read Mein Kampf, but I probably should at least read it to understand it, so I could understand where it's coming from.
Right.
And that's sad because I covered English history more than anything. Onward to dystopia. Yes, the poor should die. Well, I don't know. I'm poor and I'm not ready to die yet. So I hope that was a tongue-in-cheek comment in relation to the because but that was their idea, and anyways, I bet if you looked at Mein Kampf and you read a lot of
right,
if you're not rich yet, you should just be bulldozed into open graves. There are those that feel that way, unfortunately. And
Okay, I think we gotta. Let's see. Let's give Mike a wrench. Yeah, maybe he could.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mike, all right. You have a wrench. You're a moderator now, and we'll see how this onward to dystopia goes. And
yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I've read Mein Kampf. I read it in junior high because, I was curious to find out, hey, what's all this about Nazism? And I learned about Nazism, and I read Das Kapital, and I learned about communism, and I go, wow, that opened my eyes. And I said, yeah, we don't want to go down that road because that's, they paint it like, oh, it's this all great thing. Everybody's equal. Yeah, they're equal, but they're equally poor. Nobody, and it kills initiative and entrepreneurship. And,
now that you mention it, I probably have read it because I think we discussed it. And I was very fortunate that, of course, we had teachers. Some of our older teachers were World War II vets.
Right.
At least some of mine were. And so we, I was very fortunate. One of my history and government teachers in junior high. Hello, Steve Carpenter.
Hey,
and
welcome, Steve.
But yeah. And so he discussed stuff like that because he fought in he was actually initially he was part of the Chinese Air Force, which,
so he was ABM.
Yeah. And he went on to become a flight instructor in the Marines after we were involved with it. So, and he'd actually been a flight instructor before the war, and
Right.
that's how, and a pilot well before the war,
Mhm.
and that's how he got into the
Air Force or the
Air
Army
Force, and the Army Air Corps, eventually. But that's why he went with the Chinese Air Force, because American expeditionary forces or whatever they called them back then. And I knew, so I had several instructors, even in tech school. I had several that had flown with the Chinese Air Force, because they were wanting to get in. I had one that actually went and flew with the RAF. So,
that was the way Americans could get around serving in the Air Force, because they wanted to fly and they wanted to fight against Nazism or fascism or the Japanese. And because the United States wasn't officially at war, there were rules against American citizens fighting on like a mercenary. They relaxed those rules, so they were able to go and fight for the Chinese and then the RAF.
And that's something a lot of people don't realize, is that Japan attacked China, years before they ever. They'd been in that war. Well, they went into Manchuria, I think, first, and this was before. Was this before Mao's march?
Mao was. He was around back then.
He was around.
Faction, and there were two factions in China. There were the nationalists, Chiang Chiang Kaishek.
Chiang Kaishek.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
And Mao.
It's a mouthful.
And they were sort of had an alliance, and it kind of fell apart. And then they were fighting amongst each other, and
well, I know that
kinds of stuff.
I know that Chiang Kai-shek pushed Mao back up into the mountains for a while.
Right.
And then he finally had his march and pushed, and that's how Chiang Kai-shek went to, ended up in Formosa or Taiwan.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know.
Yep.
And you think about kids nowadays don't even know who these people are.
Right. That's right.
You know, and when I was growing up, Chiang Kai-shek was still alive. You know, he was still, you know, and so was Mao Zedong, you know.
You're only about 3 years older than me, so
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, so
Mao was still alive. I think the last emperor of China was still.
He was, yeah.
And then the Japanese went south and they took over Indochina because the French were part of, well, they had surrendered. So those colonies, you know, they had that, they were partnered with the Germans. They had the Vichy government, and the Japanese came over and took over Indochina because the French were fighting the people of Thailand. And those people wanted territory in Indochina, and the Japanese acted like, oh, we're liberators. We're going to help out.
Yeah.
So then,
you notice the French do. If you notice, the French do a lot of surrendering.
Oh yeah.
just an observation. No offense to the French.
That's why their navy has glass bottom boats, so they could see their old navy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, we got a little off, but that was a little history, and that's part of what we're talking
history about there. And let's see, what else? And everything wasn't all rosy with the Nazis, because
today
they got in. It was the start of the worldwide recession, depression was going. They came right after the good times in Germany.
Yeah.
Because they took over in 32, 33, and by that time the world economy was starting to come out, and that was already after the works programs that built the Autobahn and other infrastructure building that they did during the 20s, because during the 20s, Germany was doing pretty darn good.
Yeah, they were. And then, what happened was the stock market fall. And that's another thing. You mentioned it. You said 32, 33, 34, the world economy is starting to recover. Everybody but the United States, because the New Deal actually kept the United States in a depression probably 3 or 4 or 5 years longer than we should have been.
That's correct.
And one of the things in that video that I picked up on was how they were needing to go to war to sustain, an economy. And in a lot of ways, that's the way the American economy was working too.
Yeah. It wasn't all just military stuff. We were selling a lot of consumable goods.
Yeah.
Like food stuff and appliances, automobiles, and so forth.
Yeah.
So we had much diverse trading.
We did, but I've noticed that whenever we're in a war, well, up to probably Vietnam was where it started changing over, but whenever we were in a war, our economy was always boosted a little bit better, you know.
Yeah.
And because we were putting out Trump is anti-capitalism.
I
Wow.
don't think so. QE.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't.
So yeah, I don't know. Steve should be a moderator. Yeah,
Yeah.
Steve's a moderator. So
Yeah. Apparently, somebody doesn't
yeah.
understand the term capitalism because
And then we got Rackus talent. Okay, hey, this is the first time we've been hit by
yeah, we must be hitting the right people.
so
So
we
let's
must be doing something good.
all right. There we go.
If tariffs didn't work, then how come our economy is doing so well?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the Chinese to kind of work with us instead of against us in trade. I mean, look at Ronald Reagan. He put tariffs on, and he was able to get companies to come over here, build their plants here, and build their products here in the United States, and that boosted employment here in the United States.
Yeah.
And so,
well, we had to have it came down to fair trade. The reason
that's
for the
right.
tariffs was
Not free
because
trade, but fair trade.
yeah,
Carlos is
Carlos.
yeah. He's more of a libertarian.
He's a libertarian, and I understand that. And he's trolling. That's okay. I got him, Steve. Those.
Oh, okay. Good. Thank you, Lloyd.
Yeah, I got two of them. And that's oh well. But yeah, no. Let me ask you this, and I'll put it from my perspective. How many people in the economy? I mean, truly, the everyday average person, even with a good income, is ready to deal with $1,000 emergency at the last minute. I mean, even under good times, Now, my mom, she probably could, but that's because she came out of the Depression.
Mm-hmm.
But
right,
Carlos, we've had this discussion before, and it's like I said, that debt would be eliminated the moment we call in all of the debts owed to us.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a zero balance. We just call in all of our markers from everybody. Salaries are going up,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not in your field, but also a lot of people we're switching to a more technologically advanced society now, and
Mm-hmm.
jobs are higher skill levels. Yeah, you think it's just more of a spending or lack of saving, and the economy's good. I'm spending more, and then also like crap. I wished I'd put back about $1,000 for that.
Yeah.
Carlos, people have been using credit cards since Bank of America came up with the AmeriCard.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's all about your credit to spending ratio. If you keep it at 30% or below, then you're in good shape.
Carlos, were you doing well? Let's say 6 years ago. Were you doing as well as you are now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because you live in living in New York. And no, you can't. It's based on where you live, and I mean, $15 an hour, you can live fairly decent here in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So keep your $15 an hour and come down to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
New York is one of the most socialist tax states in the
Yep.
union. It's
Mhm.
run by the Social Democrats or Democratic Socialist, and that's why.
Mhm.
Well, you're right, Carlos. Nobody's arguing that point.
Mhm.
But to say the economy is better than it was
Yeah.
5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah, GDP is up over 4%, which
Yeah.
is really good for the United States. Under Obama, it was slightly more than 1%.
Yeah.
That was slow growth. And
Yeah.
here's the other thing that nobody brings up about Obama. Did you know that there were 2 recessions during the 8 years of Obama? And how you know there's a recession? Well, if you have more than 1/4 of zero or negative growth, you're in a recession.
Yeah.
And that's happened a couple times uh, during the Obama administration. And then after Trump got elected, the, he was able to get companies to bring their factories back here,
Yeah.
employ more people. Those people are now taxpayers, so revenues are going up
Right.
for the
Yeah.
government, and so they're not hurting that much. And
Yeah.
40% making less than $18,000. I don't know about that. And QE says I disagree with Trump. I'm a free market person.
Good for you.
Yeah, and the economy is doing really well. My 401k is growing like gangbusters. I mean,
Yeah.
when Trump took over, the market was what, at 16,000.
Yeah. Something like that.
Now it's close to 30,000. I mean, it's almost doubled in the 4 years.
Yeah. Well, Carlos, the quickest way to get into another recession is to vote for those that are not. Let's see.
Yeah, vote for Bernie.
Yeah, vote for somebody like Bernie Sanders. Go ahead and vote for them. And when they tax you because you're making good money, and they lower the tax rate. And here's the other thing: people say people under a certain amount don't pay taxes. They pay taxes, yes, because you pay each paycheck a certain amount goes to pay your FICA and all that stuff,
Right.
and it goes towards your income tax. When you get a return, there's a certain amount that is still left with the government. You've just overpaid based
Yeah,
on your tax rate.
that's
And
right.
that's what people don't understand is
Mhm.
even the poor or the lower income people are still paying some
Some tax,
stipend of
but
tax. Yeah.
but the bottom 50% pay no federal income tax. And
Right.
notice I said federal income tax. They're still paying state
Right.
income tax, sales tax, and stuff like that. Corporate tax is corporations don't pay that tax. Consumers
Consumers
pay
pay
that
it.
tax.
Yeah.
That is the cost of doing business. That gets put into the price of the product. So they're not paying.
Right.
Corporations aren't paying that tax.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
The cost of this obviously is an American made drone, but we got some drone people here. This drone right here, okay, it cost $10 to build and to sell, or I bought it for $10. Well, they probably built it for, I don't know, $1.75,
Right.
okay, in China. Okay. Then they sell it to Banggood or whoever, who then charges me $3.95 for shipping. They charge me tax, but they charge me $10 plus shipping and tax. Okay. But it only costs them $5 to buy. Well, $2 of that probably went towards corporate tax,
Yep.
and to pay somebody's wages to put it in a box. Yeah. Every single thing that we purchase has gone towards, because cheap money, the Fed injects billions, printing money out of nothing. Housing and stocks are overinflated. Don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be worse. I mean, right now we're in a time period where we're living comfortably.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Don't have kids. Yeah. Price of gold lately. No, I haven't. But cryptocurrencies, they've been fluctuating quite a bit, and it's nice to see that Bitcoin is getting back close to $10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm not into cryptocurrency. To me, that's not real money. I want my greenbacks to be backed by the Federal Reserve. I would prefer it be backed by gold or silver, but it's not anymore.
Right.
But it is protected by the federal government. I don't trust anything that's manipulated electronically.
Yeah.
I've got $10 billion in cryptocurrency. You want to buy some?
Yeah.
Where are the innovations? The only industry that produces the most innovation are the least regulated. The Boeing 787 or whatever is the same nonsense after all these decades. We are stagnant. I do agree with to a point. We are not as innovative. We lost, and that's due to
regulations.
That's and that was those regulations. All that stuff was put on by predominantly liberal Congress and Senate and liberal lawmakers, and and the reason we got big government and regulations is because of the socialist or the progressive agenda. Yeah, I find as onward to dystopia says we're done making innovations. We just make apps for the dopamine addicted people to stare at their phones. I find it hilarious that he would say that as he's sitting here talking to us on a computer that probably has an app, or he might be watching it on his phone or his tablet. If we need to get outside more. I agree.
Yep.
Let's see.
All right, so let's switch over to entitlement spending.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing on Facebook how Trump is going to cut disability payments. He's going to cut Social Security. And I have to remind these people, they're not cuts. The only thing that's being cut is the growth rate of those entitlements. Because right now, our entitlement, they're on automatic pilot right now. And they take up 75% of the federal budget.
Right.
And it's growing at a rapid pace. And we got to do something about it. We got to start, and I'm not talking about cut the rate in half, just cut it, some of it. We got to start somewhere, because if you do that all throughout all the different entitlements, then we could get back towards reasonable. Here in Colorado, half of our budget goes for education, where 30 years ago it was only a third of the budget. And what's the return there are we getting on education? We're getting these kids that don't know anything.
Yeah.
Like you said, they don't know anything about history. They're being taught all this garbage about how great socialism is, and it's all about indoctrination, and we gotta do
Yeah,
something
and
with
that's why
it.
they're spending so much money. We have the same problem with the education here. Our teachers went on strike here a couple years ago,
Yeah,
and because they weren't getting enough pay raises and stuff. My thing is those teachers probably if they taught stuff like they used to.
yeah.
I mean, if they taught history,
Hmm.
as we talked about, if they taught
How about shop
civics,
class? How
huh?
about shop class?
Yeah, shop class,
They got
you
rid
know,
of all the shop classes,
right?
the
Yeah,
trade classes. They got rid of wood shop, metal shop. Uh, they're even getting rid of some of the bands, music, art.
yeah,
And this all goes down to teachers union wants X amount of dollars in
yeah,
rates, and we work out a deal where they get maybe 75% of it. Then they go, well, hey, we can't live on that, so we're going to cut these programs. So they punish the kids because they can't rein in their spending because it's all going into administration, and that's where the this expense is coming from. And plus, these teachers say, "Oh, I can't live on this money." Hey, look at their benefits and retirement packages. They've
yeah,
got a gold-plated retirement package where, hey, if they serve 30 plus years, by the time they retire, they're getting 80, 90% of their highest salary
yeah, yeah.
in
I,
retirement.
I'm
All
watching some
that
stuff.
all that's doing is moving uh, money into retirement. Now,
Yeah,
if they worked it out to where okay, they cut some of that and they can live a little better.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
maybe they should go on a 401k type program where that'll build up over time and they'll get to keep more of their hard earned money. And that's what's busting the budgets of a lot of these uh, states is these unions, these
yeah, yeah,
public service or public employee unions,
yeah,
like the teachers union and so forth. And here in Colorado, we've got a program called PARA, which is it's mostly teachers that are in it, but it's government workers. And it is way underfunded by now, right
right.
now. And the Democrats won't work with the Republicans on, hey, let's any new employees, we'll switch them over to 401k type program, and then over X amount of years, everybody will be into a 401k, and they'll be out of this defined benefits
Right.
program, which is
I
killing
don't
the
know if you're
state.
watching any of the chat, Art, but there are some really good points here. A few of them I disagree with, but there's a lot there. Uh, they said the school QE 0000
Yeah,
or whatever says. I'm going with his last name. The schools are bad because of government. We need free market education. I agree,
yeah,
to an extent. And here's where people that are passionate about politics or whatever, they confuse the overall government with the person, the president, the guy at the top. They say it's his fault because, but these, if they studied history and they understood the history of it, these things have been slowly been put in place by the liberal progressives for the last 50 years.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, this isn't this. It wasn't like when Donald Trump.
Okay, go.
Burglar alarms. Anyways, it's not like that when Donald Trump got elected, this stuff happened. No,
Right.
this stuff is.
Has
Yeah,
been going on for years and years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been going on for years, and it's been the slow erosion. And you're right. It's the unions.
Mhm.
If you study the teachers' unions have control over our education, not the government, and they keep shoveling the same thing over and over to the young sheep who absorb it as truth, and that's
Yep.
true. That
Mhm.
is
It's true, Steve.
when I think that's where I had a problem. No child left behind.
Yeah.
That was a fiasco in itself, you know.
Right.
I didn't agree with it. Unwed kids having kids, parenting isn't happening enough.
Yeah.
It comes back to somebody said eliminate religion. Well, I would probably disagree with that because of the fact that, you know, he said it's because we have such a bad moral, you know, we've lost our moral compass. You know, we've
Right.
lost we no longer have we don't have any sort of belief system. It didn't matter back when you and I were kids, you know, you got up, you went to Sunday school, you
Yep.
know, then after church you went out to dinner. Dad might not go to church, but mom did, and she took
Yep.
you. And
Yep.
you got some basic understanding of what I always say at the end of my show. Be nice to each other. Treat
Mhm.
each other the way you want to be treated. And we've lost that. It's all about pointing fingers, saying it's the government's fault or it's the teacher's fault or it's, you know, I'm not going to participate in this because it's religion's fault. No, just if every single person was nice to another person, it's just passing it forward.
Mhm.
Yeah, morality has been lost from this country. I see people starting to turn back, trying to get morality, but
Mhm.
when you got politicians that they spend all their time working up to the being elected to find dirt, the nastiest thing they can find on somebody just to ruin a person's reputation, to keep them out of their job, you know, so you can get their job. That's not the way you win it. You know, you win it with ideas. That's the way you
Right.
should win it. Unfortunately, it's the tabloids that run our country now, you know.
And also, you got to remember, schools
Okay, Mike, you take care.
schools have become like babysitters now because both parents are working. And that's also because of progressive policies where the tax rates have gone up so high where it takes two parents to work now to
Happy birthday to Mike Roche too, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mike, happy birthday. Mike, you enjoy your day, and we'll catch you around. Yeah, getting back to my point. Um, yeah, during World War One, women were put into the workforce because the men were off fighting or they were in the factories working for the manufacturing of armaments. And that was the same with World War II, where
Yeah.
a lot of factories went from making consumer goods to military goods. You know, like all the auto industries
Right.
were converted into building tanks, aircraft, and guns. I mean, there was a jukebox company that was making M1 rifles. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my mom, during World War II, she went to work in a munitions plant out in California. She was from Colorado, but she went all the way to California and worked the war years out there. You know,
Right.
uh, and she was one of the few that developed the skills because she was a learned person. She had a high school, all 12 years high school education. She
Right.
graduated in 1939 and uh, uh, graduated from Emmanuel Heights.
Right.
And so she was for that time period, because you could teach if you had an 8th grade education back then,
Mhm.
So she had at least equal to what we would consider at least associates or maybe even a bachelor's now,
Mhm.
And she went out there and she got put into a position of management,
Right.
and she made sure, when people checked in and out, she had to take care of that. Anyways, I don't know what all she did, but she was in a management position. And
Right.
because of that, she learned the management skills enough to come back, and she managed all, post-war all the way up until 1955, managed, they had 12 stores at the time, and she'd opened 10 of them from the start. They only had 2 to start out with. She
Wow.
helped open the other 10
Wow.
as the manager, and they're in the Denver area, Dolly Madison Ice Creams, and so she was friends with the original owners, and
Wow.
so yeah. But she picked that skill up from, one, she was educated, two, she went to work during the war, and that's what was taught, leadership skills.
Mhm.
People do need people,
Yep.
here's I'm going back to something. Let's see.
Okay.
There's something I saw here. Pursuit of happiness. Let me do my own thing. I don't have to care about other people, and let me be an individual. Okay. Here is something that I learned, and it's one of the most intriguing things I probably learned in American government in college. I had this teacher that said, in order to belong to a civilized society, we have to give up certain inalienable or certain rights. We have to give up certain things. For
Right.
example, I could sit here and I could get, there's nothing that says that I can't just get up right now, go out there and shoot my neighbor's dog. Just walk over there and shoot it
Mhm.
because it's barking and I don't like it. If it doesn't make me happy, that would be part of my pursuit of happiness. Go shut that damn dog up.
Mhm.
Okay. But I want to live in a civilized society.
Mm.
So instead, they made a law that says I just can't go out and shoot things when I want to because I don't like it. I may not like my neighbor.
Mhm.
They might play their music too loud. But
Yeah.
to live in a civilized society, I can't go over there and shoot them
Yep.
because their music's too loud,
Right.
or shoot their stereo. That's uncivilized. That is, he says rational pursuit of happiness. Everybody has that right to pursue happiness,
Mhm. Yeah.
but the term is, mom cared about me because of the joy of upbringing me. Yeah, and that's it. But we've lost. That's where I say the moral compass. I'm not saying it has to be a church. But we have to give up certain things. The ability to go. Just because I carry a pistol doesn't mean I can, even though I'm licensed to do it, doesn't mean I have the legal right to go out and shoot somebody because I don't like the color of their socks.
Yeah.
Or they're wearing a rainbow colored shirt.
Right.
I can't.
But you have that right to protect yourself from someone who's trying to do harm to you or your family, or
That's right.
take property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, in Oklahoma, that's one of the laws. If they come into my house, then I can do it. But if I happen to look out the back door and they broke into my shed, I'm not allowed to go out there and shoot them.
Right.
I can go out there and I can call the cops, tell them we've got somebody in the backyard. I can even make a citizen's arrest. But should they try and make a break for it, I can't shoot them.
Yeah.
I have to let them run and let the cops catch them.
Right.
Because they're not in my house. They're not imminent threat. Now, if they pull a gun out, I can shoot back, you know. But
all right, so
anyways,
let's get to our last topic. Bernie has won big in Nevada. Bloomberg he did terrible in the debates this week. So this is going to be an interesting primary for the Democrats. I mean, Bernie could take it, or will the Democrats let him have it? Or will they let him have it by saying, oh, but the super delegates, they want to give it all to Bloomberg?
Yeah.
Because they all stole it from him, back in 2016. They took it away from him, and they gave it to Hillary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really scared that Bernie Sanders is going to, because he's starting to draw crowds like, not quite on the scale that Trump is, but this is really what it comes down to. We're coming down to, we're coming down to a fight for the country. Do we move over to the side of socialism? Because I guarantee you, QEOO will not like the world when the socialists take over. And if he does, go live in China. Stay the hell out of my country.
Yeah.
If you want to live that way, yeah.
Okay. So
anyway,
Bloomberg gets in. They finally let him in the debate, and everybody is beaten up on. Pocahontas is saying, talking about his attitudes towards women,
Right. Yeah. He got hammered.
Oh yeah,
he was such a
was going after him.
I think his problem is I don't think he knows what he stands for.
Yeah,
because coming out of 9/11, he got the blessings of Giuliani.
As
a Republican,
he wasn't governor. He wasn't even mayor yet.
Yeah,
he was mayor after 9/11, and we made
yeah.
He was mayor during. No, you weren't. No,
yeah, no. He came in after the 9/11 event because Giuliani was in charge then.
Yeah,
and Giuliani knew what he took care of it.
And Bloomberg did win. He was a Republican. They switched to independent, and they switched to Democrat. And thank you, Carlos.
All right, you take care, Carlos. Always good having you out there, giving a different insight.
Yeah.
Later, Carlos.
Oh, there's Greg calling in, or is it Mel?
No, it's Greg. He doesn't ever look. Hey, mate. Oh, God. You just woke up.
Hey, welcome to the show. Greg.
Yeah, he moved his self away from the camera after that.
What are you on?
I'm on an art show.
It's too early in the morning for that.
Well, you managed to always call in on every show I'm on. I don't know how your timing. Yeah.
I wasn't intending to.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I woke up.
Okay.
Later.
All right. Later, mate. Oh, I got Mel's show this evening. Don't forget about it.
Okay.
All right.
I'll call back.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
Oh my God. He looked like he had just crawled out of bed. It's like, and it's actually pretty early in the morning for him. So
yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're like 16 hours different.
yeah. So we're talking. It's like
Oh, about 6
4,
o'clock in the morning down
4,
there.
5, 6, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah. He said it was too early in the morning for this.
Well, here in the United States, all the Sunday morning shows are all political shows. You
Yeah.
know, like Face the Nation and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, those are one of the guys wrote up here about, religion and stuff. You got two things you can watch on Sunday morning.
Yep.
You can watch the religious shows, or you can watch the anti-religious shows.
Yeah.
Face the Nation, Meet the Press, all of those
yeah.
so left-wing socialist
Yeah.
anti-religious groups. So, that's just, you can either watch Saint Peter or Lucifer, your choice on Sunday mornings. Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Yep.
But yeah, what do you think about, have they declared Bernie the winner of Nevada, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And Bloomberg wasn't even in the top 5. I don't think. I think it went Sanders, Warren, Buttigieg, and Klobuchar. I think those were the top 5. I didn't even see. Let's see, it was maybe Bloomberg was too late to get on the ballot in Nevada.
I don't remember seeing who won. I just
Tuesday is Super Tuesday, I believe.
Oh, is it really?
I think, yeah.
Ooh, I might need to check into that and see when we vote.
Yeah, so we have our caucus. Well, yeah, that's March 7th, but I think our primary is March 3rd, I believe.
Okay.
So I got my ballot, and I'm like going, I go, okay, there's Trump and there's 5 other people. I'm like going, wow, I didn't know the guitarist from the Eagles was in it. Wow.
Well.
And who's this Zoltran guy?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did I make it to the ballot? Am I on the Colorado ballot?
Yeah, but you're on the Indian
Republican ticket.
I didn't
Okay.
get that ballot.
You didn't get to look. Man,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to talk. I've got some new political commercials that'll be coming out here between now and now in November. So working on that. I got a new commercial guy that's going to be helping me out with some commercials.
Great.
So, yeah. So
Mhm. All right. Well, QE, at least you don't live here in Colorado. We've got Republicans beating each other up. We got 2 factions here. We've got the Rocky Mountain gun owners faction, and then there's the other more adult oriented, not the not like that kind of adult oriented, but they're the adults in the room. They want good candidates, and where RMGO wants to put candidates up that are more inclined to moral issues, which is fine, but you know what? I'd rather have candidates that are, set their sights on, making the state work, like getting the infrastructure back up to snuff. Hey, we got roads that are falling apart. Every time we have an initiative saying, oh, well, we got off track betting and the money is going to go to fixing the roads. Guess what? It's not going to go to the roads. Every time we have something like that, it never goes to where it's supposed to go. Like, for example, we legalized recreational marijuana, and it was supposed to go to education. Not going to education. It's going into the general fund where now the Democrats who control the state are spending it all on their pet project instead of fixing the schools and the roads.
Let's make a mistake again.
Yeah.
Good one, Greg. Well, here's something. You talked about legalized marijuana. Well, we've got turns out we are in the top 10 or top 5 of per capita more marijuana shops than any other state in the union.
Oh, wow.
And we just voted it in about a little bit over a year and a half ago. And we've already got, like 5 shops per person or something. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's why everybody in Oklahoma is going, yeah, Oklahoma's okay, man.
They just passed a law we can't toke in public now.
Well, you can't smoke in public here in Colorado.
Well, see, somebody forgot to put that in with the marijuana bill.
Oh, boy.
They're like, ooh, you can't smoke in public, but you can. They said we can go ahead and eat our brownies.
Okay.
We can eat the pot. We just can't smoke it in public. So that's
in Denver. We could poop on the sidewalk.
Yeah, well, I can see us getting that way here. I don't think that'll happen here because we're still pretty. We've had a few of the lefties infiltrate, but I got to tell you, yesterday, I went to pick up Judy's Valentine present. I know it's late, but I was hoping to get something in that didn't come in, but I went and got her a new purse that she could carry her pistol in. It's got a hidden compartment for her, put her new birthday present in.
Oh.
And so I'm walking into where I bought the gun from, and it's got a sign up there. It says, it has a cigarette burning, with a circle and a cross through it. And then it looks like a vape pen with a circle and a cross through it. Then it has a marijuana leaf with a circle. Yeah. I think that's pretty well a given. You don't go into a place that sells guns smoking pot, really. And that says no smoking marijuana, no smoking cigarettes, no vaping.
Yeah, no smoking, period. Yeah. Says, I can't even smoke anything in public here. Yeah. California.
That's the way it is here too, Greg.
Yeah.
The left likes to spend and the right tries to cut it back. But unfortunately, in a lot of ways, the lines have gotten a little blurred over the last few years.
Yep.
It's getting harder and harder to tell a conservative from a liberal.
Right. Well, I just saw a posting this morning. I guess there's a libertarian candidate that wants to take away your AR-15. And all my libertarian friends are their hair is on fire and they're having a connection. And I said, well, see, that's what you get when your party is being infiltrated by moderate Democrats.
Yeah.
And that's why Colorado is turning blue. I found out a couple of years ago there's a libertarian candidate. He'll switch every couple of years. 1 year he'll be running for state senate. 1 year, one cycle he'll be running for state house. He's a former Democrat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah. I'm not really worried about them coming to take my AR-15. You know, I don't have one.
yeah,
Just
just get an AK instead.
well, I mean, I have a 243 bolt action, you know, but and I have a
Shotgun.
no, not a shotgun. I have a 1020 Ruger 1022
Oh,
semi-automatic rifle,
those are go.
and I do have a BB gun that
Yeah.
shoots 20. Well, it's not BBs; it's a pellet gun. It
Yeah.
shoots 22 calibers at 1,100 feet a second.
Yeah, those will take down a squirrel real good.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen some videos on YouTube where guys are taking out rats and squirrels and pigeons, and I think I think the biggest caliber they got for air rifle is 25 caliber.
I'm sitting there watching, reading what that guy's saying, and it's like, oh well. There's people, you know, he has his right to his way of thinking.
This guy is definitely a libertarian.
Libertarian,
And, same with Carlos.
Yeah,
and
it's everybody else's fault.
Yeah, it's everybody's fault.
That's the libertarians. They're the. It's not our fault. We're for free everything, but we're against any spending, and we're against blah blah blah. Yeah.
Well,
you know,
their
own, man.
Spending is going to grow no matter what you do, because population's growing.
The genie's out of the bottle.
You got infrastructure that needs to be improved or replaced. So how is spending trillions okay? Well, it's not okay, but it's how it's
part of it is the cost of it. It's related to inflation, the cost of spending. Well, I'll tell QE. I'll tell you what I told, I don't know, Carlos or somebody here a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to be dead. I could really care less.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
And
I'm not leaving nothing for my kids.
Now I kind of lost where I was going to go on the trillions. Where you have if the market isn't growing, that's where. Oh, I know what I wanted to say was tax capacity, and that's where you get. That's where this all implodes on itself. Where the Democrats they want to tax everything. Bernie's even already coming to the conclusion, he's going to tax the middle class too. What's going to end up happening is where you get to a certain point of diminishing returns on taxes, where your tax capacity is too high, then then the deficits can come back to bite you. All right. So we've done a little over an hour.
Yeah, we have.
We could be talking about deficits and all this stuff till we're blue in the face.
Yeah.
So thank you again for coming on the show, and thanks to everyone in the the chat and the people that all came to. I think, I got one. I've got my first thumbs down. I must be doing
All right.
right. Yeah.
Well, whenever you get a thumbs down, that's always good, because that meant they stayed long enough to decide they didn't like it, and more power to them. And as far as me not caring about the future, I hope they understand I was being facetious. That's just who I am. But I'm more concerned about the way our future generations are thinking, and not whether we're spending our future. We're still paying off, in some ways, we're still paying off stuff that happened during World War II. And it was the Democrats that got us into that mess, by not dealing with it a lot earlier than they did, So, this is about
all right, so
okay, yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Greg, thanks for coming into the show, and so we'll do it again next week. We'll
be here next week.
And you're not
remember
what? What did you say?
I was going to say, remember next week, if you decide to go ice fishing, send me a text message beforehand. So I was sitting in here last week like, I'm texting you. I guess no show. Okay. Because
all right,
that's what I get for not watching your Saturday show. My bad. It's
okay,
on me.
Everybody, thanks for coming in. God bless you all. God bless this great country, United States, and take care, everybody. See you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.